Technoid landscapes. Today we would like to take you on a journey through landscapes enhanced by technology. The vast differences of these landscapes may seem extreme at first. These exact extremes are the red thread that interconnects them. In environments that all have their challenges for mankind, through Technoid building, living is made accessible through technology. Even though some of our worlds seem apocalyptic, the primal instinct of the human race for survival, combined with creativity, creates living solutions. But why do we need fictional landscapes and scenarios? Their strengths are the visual capabilities and the possible distance to realism. Extreme imagery and scenarios that cannot be captured photographically can be shown through technical modulation and renderings. Possible apocalyptic scenarios that may come to reality. Major crises like climate change and its effects on human life and our planet can be visually displayed with the technological capabilities we own today. By making use of visuals, these scenarios become more accessible and comprehensible to the viewer. Rather than someone telling you what our world might look like in the future, you get to see it with your own eyes. These landscapes have one thing in common: extreme environmental conditions. The human urge to populate even the most challenging habitats is drastically displayed and has to be questioned. Humankind's behaviorism with its surroundings create exponentially more of these extremely inhabitable landscapes. So we have to ask ourselves, is it our goal to live in such environs?
The creative process started with a collection of images, used as datasets to create meshes on Rhino. In the next step, our datasets were developed in different ways. Some used download images, which they varied to create datasets who resembled inner circular similarity. Other photographed their data samples and created datasets from scratch to fit their own needs. The latent walk videos, which resulted out of the data samples, can be interpreted to structural similarity. Following is an ensemble of the different latent walks. The roughness and the fine lines in between. The combination of the videos showcases the similarities, the fine lines in between, and the extreme cuts, which seem sharp and random, almost like shattered glass, combine themselves and become one. In the end, they become a clear form, almost like a journey which ends. The restless form gets tamed. The datasets were generated by different programs like Monolith and Cocoon in Rhino to a mesh. This is done by layering the images and extruding the individual surfaces that become the structure of the mesh. Despite extreme differences between the meshes in structure and shape, common objects were assembled within the scene. Through different interpretations and ideas, the structures came to life, with a similar thought. We focused on one object in particular, and went on to embed it into a humankind transformed landscape, assigning purpose to it. While observing the layer-like structure of the object, The concept of gravitational pressure forcing those layers together, like countless sediments accumulated over a long time span, came to our mind. Creating the highway meant creating an entity from which said pressure derives and giving it a place and scale in our scene. To preserve each curve and edge while adding foraying structures, we made sure to align their contours with the layer they are built on. An object in the middle of a barren landscape, which man could create a habitat for himself through his technical knowledge. However, due to the superiority of nature, it was and will be a long time uninhabitable. This abandonment is made clear by the growth of plants on the object. But who knows if it's ever possible for humankind to return to such places. The intention of the project was to create a building that looks as one solid piece of wood. The idea behind the project was to create a sustainable building with local resources that fits in as a part of the environment. A butterfly sits on the rough facade and shows the connection between the nature and the building. So not only the farmer got a new home, but also the butterfly. The creation of the ideal living area in a warm summer desert oasis. That ideally has enough resources to fulfill human needs. The habitable buildings are adapting to the desert landscape by having flowy but at the same time rocky textures. The access to the building complex may seem impossible and extreme. Therefore, spending time there provides feeling of safeness and soundness. The texture that characterizes these buildings is unrecognizable from the extreme nature of the desert. Developed out of a randomized mesh, redefined into space and function through the definition of inside and outside spaces. The contrast in our latent walk images converted into a contrast of a building and surrounding. Showcase an extreme inhabitable environment overcame by technology. Built from steel and glass, resistant against all that may come. Every scene we created is very different, but somehow in their complexity they correlate with each other. The generated projects try to keep the touch with reality and make habitable spaces outside of the current trends. Extreme landscapes are made habitable and the ability to survive is kept. For this exact purpose, nature and its landscapes are deformed and enhanced with technological advancements, which in the end optimize living and sustainability. This is actively demonstrated by the objects being the core building, which in various ways extend into something more. Warm and safe spaces are provided inside the objects. Fluid and organic architecture, as well as infrastructure, are the characteristics that define the volumes. To sum up everything that has been stated so far, transforming extreme landscapes is a topic that needs more attention, since we are running out of space to habitat. Who knows, maybe in the future other planets need some augmentation.